JD Vance is such a little titty baby with his eyeliner, dying to pop a smoky eye. He's melting down on Twitter, embarrassing himself. Put this up. So he tweets to a guy who is critical of the administration, and he puts, "This loser who supported DeSantis in the 2024 primary is now attacking my team, which has been working tirelessly to implement the president's agenda. He has no evidence for this bullshit smear because there isn't any." And let me just say this. The whining of this administration and these MAGA men, I've never seen anything like it. I've never in my entire life, 50 years on this earth, seen a group of grown-ass men that whine and complain as much as they do. If you don't want to be criticized and you don't want to be the subject of articles written in the press, don't get on your big boy pants and run for the big boy office if you're going to get there and act like a little titty baby. It's unbelievable to me that these people act like they're victims of their own life choices. You're on the big stage now, and it comes with a lot of praise, and it comes with a shit ton of criticism. Some of it true, some of it false, some of it spin, some of it, propaganda, which they promote constantly. But this is just unbelievable what babies these MAGA men are.
I'm with you. I've never seen a titty baby parade like this group of men. Elon Musk, Donald Trump, now JD Vance can't take it. He's got to be a titty baby too. What I am tired of is that the president and the vice president of the United States pick fights on Twitter. Like, are you kidding me? Grow up. You're supposed to be running the country. People's lives depend on you, and you're worried about what some article says. You're not serious people.
But that's where their base is, because they have an exaggerated base of support. And when they get outside of that realm, like at Trump's birthday party, they realize very quickly that the support they think they have on X doesn't quite exist. So they go on there, and then Musk has the bot farms, and Vladimir Putin has all the bots, and then just all of the members of the cult just traffic on there all the time. But there's something more nefarious going on with Trump and the Christian base, and they have a problem with empathy, and they are streamlining and normalizing cruelty. Donald Trump recently was asked if he was going to reach out to Tim Walz, which typically a sitting president would, because a Minnesota lawmaker and the spouse were assassinated and 2 others were shot. Donald Trump doesn't give a shit. Listen to what he says.
Minnesota, there were a lot of horrific details that came out today about the suspect who's been charged there. Have you called the governor yet or been able to speak to any of them?
I don't really call him. He appointed this guy to a position. I think the governor of Minnesota is so whacked out. I'm not calling him. Why would I call him? I could call him and say, "Hi, how you doing?" The guy doesn't have a clue. He's a mess. So, I could be nice and call him, but why waste time? I'm the big beautiful bill.
First of all, it wasn't Tim Walz that appointed him to the bipartisan commission. I just want to clear that up. Not that facts matter anymore. But I'm just like, the sitting president of the United States, well, I could be nice, but I'm not going to. I mean, he's going in to Democratic cities. He's ripping people off the street. It just, the lack of decency, I guess that it is so horrible to me that this guy is the leader of 77 million people. It makes me wonder about the soul of these people. Like, these people are cruel. That's their default setting, which I know we've said it, but this is just like that they're okay with this kind of behavior is sickening.
Pumps, they like it. That's like porn to them. The more he is like that, indignant about stuff like that, the more it enforces their position of supremacy. The more it enforces their toxic traits that this is normal. Being a dick is normal, and we get to be. We don't have to put up with these rainbow mafia people anymore. And we have to put up with these immigrants or these black people screaming for DEI. And when he acts like that, they get their rocks off. They dig it. They're into it. And that's at the core of this whole thing to me. And this is where I think, like, there is these churches, these mega churches that have indoctrinated millions and millions of Americans to be absolute soulless pricks. that they need to have their tax exemption written off because they all are political. I mean, if you live in Oklahoma, if you drive down the street during an election, it will say, "We pray for President Trump" on election day on the marquee in front of the church. But let's move along. Gavin Newsom is rising up as somebody who's not afraid to take on Donald Trump directly. Let's put up this post. Trump officials reverse guidance exempting farms, hotels, and immigration raids. This is from the Washington Post. ICE agents have been told to continue conducting enforcement operations at agricultural businesses, despite concerns about negative effects on the food industry. Gavin Newsom retweets this article and says, "Looks like Stephen Miller is the boss after all. Trump got big-footed by his own staff. Pathetic." And see, this is the thing about Trump. Whoever has his ear is his policy. Stephen Miller's in his ear. You need to deport this people, this people, this people. Joe Biden's deported more people than you. Obama's deported more. You look like a pussy. So he's like, "Oh my God, round them up. Let's go. Home Depot, 7-Eleven. Then business leaders call him, "What the fuck are you doing, bro? Like, you're picking up, my business is tanking. Like, you're picking up my entire workshop. What are you going to do at Mar-a-Lago?" And he's like, "Oh, pump the brakes, pump the brakes." And they just go back and forth like this because there's no core conviction or policy with this administration at all. Now, Stephen Miller has conviction about being a Nazi and about trying to remove all people of color or any grace or dignity that this country might have to welcoming people who need safe shelter. That's not in his DNA. And I get that. I get a psycho in solitude. The worst thing about the MAGA movement is all of the worst have conspired together. You have big Christian, which is like you have big oil, big pharma. Big Christian is a big industry in the United States, huge. And much like the other billionaires, they don't pay taxes either. So you have all of these big industries colluding together at the same time, guiding this useful idiot. And here's the big thing. Here's what sucks and what is so depressing to think about. Trump could drop dead today, but all of this brokenness in this country remains. Guys, support us by supporting our sponsors. And I have to tell you, Pumps and I spend a lot of time working on our skincare. When you get to be broads of our age, it's very important. But we both realize we've neglected our necks. That's why we are so happy to be working with Go Pure. We both got this neck cream and I've been using it and I absolutely love the Go Pure.
I love how good my skin feels after I put it on. I mean, it just feels fantastic. And I love the fact that it is free of harsh chemicals and it's not that expensive.
Listener, with over 1 million jars sold, this beauty secret is no longer a secret. For a limited time, our listeners get 25% off Go Pure with code IHIP at checkout. Just head to gopurebeauty.com, use code IHIP, and you're all set. And after you buy, do us a favor. When they ask you where you heard about Go Pure, tell them it was from Pumps and Me and IHIP News.
Absolutely it does, because he has given people permission to be their worst selves. And I look at Stephen Miller and I've read reports that, he is really the AG, Stephen Miller. Pam Bondi's really not in control. Now you're seeing Kristi Noem's really not in control of Stephen Miller. Stephen Miller is diabolical and vile. And Terry Moran didn't go far enough when he said hatred is spiritual nourishment for this man. This is an incredibly, very, very sick man that hates and likes cruelty. And that's who the boss is, because Donald Trump, like you said, flip-flops, really doesn't give a shit as long as he can play golf and play on his social media at being a tough guy. But this guy, he is organized and ambitious, and he is fed by all of this hatred and cruelty.
And he knows how to use the MAGA base.
Yes.
He knows how to stoke that in them and get them going. I mean, because the cruelty that I see when people speak about immigrants, when I see it on television or online, the dehumanization in which they speak about it is it's so jarring. But then I have to remind myself, these are the same people, the same hypocrites that go to NBA basketball games or watch their favorite sporting event, which is dominated by African American athletes. But they have the audacity to say, you can't talk about politics, son. You've got to just shut up and dribble. So this is the big rub with these people. When you really are honest, if you're super honest about this country, all of the labor that went into making the United States of America was done by Black hands and by Black people. And they weren't paid for that. They were owned, they were raped, they were abused, they were used. And all of the wealth from all of that Black slave labor went to white people. And then all the Black movement in the United States has just tried to survive around these hateful, evil, white Christian races. And then we have the civil rights movement. And then, the way they were treated when they get home from Vietnam. And now the big thing is, like I remember when, I'll never forget it, Laura Ingraham says to LeBron James, just shut up and dribble. So many white Christian Fox News like, yep, that's right. He has no right to talk about politics. So every white American that sits around and enjoys college football, NFL, NBA, all of those sports that are dominated by African Americans. And then when the NBA athletes tried to put Black Lives Matter on the court, you were so triggered. You gave up your season tickets and wouldn't go to games. How about, think about it. Think about how your family got your money. And maybe it's not like generational wealth, but it was enough for each generation to do a little better. And think about what happened there. And the fact that they don't want to see that and they choose their hate every single day, yet enjoy all of the benefits that Black culture has brought to America. Because I'll tell you this much, there is no white culture other than hating Black people. But if you dive into Black culture, there's a multitude of fabulous facets of their culture that have enriched my life and the American culture at large. But it grosses me out, the hypocrisy of these angry ass white people and how they want to cherry pick when they're into Black people and when they're not. So it's not that big of a stretch at all, considering how they treat their own fellow American citizens that built this country. Because don't make any mistake about it. Black people built this country. They did all the labor. Full fucking stop. So it's not that big of a stretch that now the people that are coming over here to do the manual labor, they want to exploit and not pay and dehumanize, all in the name of their Lord and personal Savior.
You're exactly right. You're exactly right.
All right. That's all we have for today, and we'll see you all later.